Now, the Health Department is calling for tougher laws on smoking. Officials want smoking in public buildings banned, while outside, no smoking within 10 meters of any building. The Health Minister, Dr. Motsoaledi, joins Newsday now from Pretoria. Dr. Motsoaledi, good afternoon to you and welcome. We have heard from one anti-smoking organization that smoking in this country is on the increase. Do you have a reason as to why that is? Because there are so many preventative campaigns. It would suggest that no one's listening.
Thank you, Jeremy. There has been improvement, but the reason that we are amending this legislation is that every year you pass a law, industry try to find a way to sidestep it. For instance, when the legislation was passed, anti-smoking legislation, there were no e-cigarettes. Now they came up with e-cigarettes, which are supposed to be, according to them, not delivering nicotine, but we know most of them do. And we've discovered that the young people start smoking through e-cigarettes. In other words, they are saying, please don't smoke a cigarette because smoking is not good for you, but you can smoke an e-cigarette. And very soon, they move over to smoking. Now, as part of the new legislations, the new tougher measures, we are also including e-cigarettes as a cigarette. In other words, any system that delivers nicotine, whether it's the real cigarette or whether it's e-cigarette or any other system, as long as it delivers nicotine, must be classified as cigarettes and their control must be similar. That is the first thing we are doing. The second thing, Jeremy, we've discovered a gap where on cigarette packets is written not to be sold for children under the age of 18. But there are vending machines all over which don't recognize age, they just recognize money. So we're going to ban vending machines completely and altogether. Thirdly, you are aware that we've given 25% smoking space within inside public places. We are doing away with that. There shouldn't be any 5%, there should be nothing. Fourthly, because there are no adverts, cigarettes are no longer advertised on newspapers or on the radio or TV, but inside the shopping malls themselves, they are advertised, because when you arrive there, you go to the counter, you find all sorts of coloring and all that. So we are going to make sure that they put them inside a box that is not transparent, where nobody can see them except that the smokers who are really looking for them. And lastly, you are aware that we want to do plain packaging and pictorial warnings, huge pictorial warnings, so that people must see what's going to happen to their lungs, their brains, their hearts, and their legs and fingers when they smoke, their gums and tongues and all that. They must see those gory pictures and understand what they are putting themselves into.
Dr. Motsoaledi, I interviewed a representative from Japan Tobacco Corporation just a few days ago, and he said to me that there is no empirical evidence that suggests plain packaging or graphically illustrated packaging actually reduces people's desire to smoke at all. They will simply bypass this and continue anyway. How much research have we done in this country to make sure that that particular strategy is actually going to work?
The research was not done in South Africa. The first plain packaging which was done was in Australia. And the minister then, who came with this idea of plain packaging, then was taken to court. She won the case, and they then continued to the WTO, World Trade Organization, and say what she has done is against trade laws. I've just got information, but not officially, that it looks like they did not win. Since that time, many other countries have followed this issue of plain packaging. And evidence from Australia is that it has discouraged many people, especially youngsters. You know, the plain packaging is an ugly packaging designed to discourage youngsters from being attracted to cigarettes. If you can see the packaging for e-cigarettes, you'll realize that they are attracting youngsters who must make efficient statement. So that gentleman from Japan, gentleman or lady, whoever from Japan, was actually lying. That's what the cigarette industry always say. There's no evidence that this and that, there's no evidence this and that. But then why continue smoking? Well, I mean, why continue selling cigarettes? Why continue poisoning people? Because we know that it definitely kills. I mean, kills 7 million people per annum. In South Africa alone, it kills 44 million. Isn't that evidence enough that this is an unwanted habit?
One of the other regulations, Minister Motsoaledi, I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's going to be a ban on smoking in cars where passengers are being transported. Again, the logic is plain to see, but it comes down to enforcement, as it does with so many of the other provisions of this proposed legislation.
Well, we want the public to have power to enforce themselves. And I know there are weaknesses, yes, with babies and children, but if you are a passenger in a car, in a taxi or whatever car, and you know that the law says the person must not smoke next to you, you will enforce it because you will claim your rights. Most of the laws that the state pass should not be enforced by the state alone, not only in health, in smoking, any law. We want to empower the public because the person will know that this is illegal and I can take it up.
Dr. Motsoaledi, just a final question, and unrelated to World Tobacco Day. You will be aware, sir, that there have been protests today at the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital here in Johannesburg over unpaid bonuses and overtime. Parts of the institution, we understand, have been shut down. I'm assuming that this has been brought to your attention. What needs to be done in that respect?
I just saw a message 5 minutes ago, Jeremy. I was not informed. And because I was rushing for this interview, I thought after it I'll phone the MEC because I was not aware about the event as it's happening now. But as you know, the issue of paid bonuses, etc., is what must be paid for by the Gauteng Department of Health. So I would like to understand from the MEC what is going on.